And hello, football fans. Welcome back to another episode of Hurdle the Line. Tonight we have Karl joining us. We have Oli with us. We've got Tom, super producer Fletch, and myself, Chapman. How's everybody?
Very good, very good.
All good.
Sad the Olympics are
Very good.
over.
Yeah.
Don't know what to do with my spare time though.
But glad the pre-season football is back.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
I will miss the golden whatever that was that we saw at the end of the Olympics last night, telling us the birth of the Olympics and Tom Cruise jumping off stadium buildings, which was fun. So
I'd like to personally congratulate the US men's basketball team on becoming kind of like world champions, but not quite world champions, by the way.
They've become Olympic champions, but not the world champions. That is still Germany. Congratulations.
Sounds like a bunch of whiners on this podcast.
Congratulations.
Little whiners.
Still, 5 in a row. Incredible achievement.
I was so hoping the US women's basketball team would actually fail in the final. They only beat France by a point. And the uproar that would have been in the US media if they hadn't won that final.
They've won 8 in a row now, so they would have had better than the men.
Yep. How did we enjoy the football this weekend, guys?
Good.
Got to see some rookies play, some rookie quarterbacks.
Great to have it back.
Yeah.
We've waited long. We've waited how many months to have football back on our screens?
It was
at least 5.5.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
I think I've calculated it was 183 days between the NFC Championship game and the Lions kicking off. I think it was around that 193 days.
That's crazy.
I googled it, by the way. I didn't sit there and count the days.
I was going to ask you how you
definitely did.
That was Google.
You definitely counted the days.
Did.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, to be fair. I'm good at maths.
Well, I think we'll get into some of that coming up. So, as we always do, we'll break the huddle first. We'll go through some news bites. Injury news. The Lions lost Emmanuel Mosley. Torn pec. What, third year in a row now?
Yeah.
Third? Yeah.
2 ACLs and now this.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not fun. We had... who else got hurt this week, guys?
Marquise Brown got hurt as well.
Yeah.
Brown's
Marquise
backup
is gonna
centre, Luke Weibler, of course.
The Falcons lost two defensive players for the season, Marco Helms and their third-round pick, Trice. Not a great way to start when a defense is already kind of thin anyway. So hopefully we won't have too many more injuries, but we know the preseason's just is a fickle mistress with that stuff. So, other news. I don't know if you guys saw, but Karl, your team cut Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster. How do you feel about that?
Don't worry, I pronounce his name wrong when I'm drunk. Yeah. I think this was to happen. He's coming off an injury. He did barely next to nothing last season. I think it was something like 290 yards he had, which is tied 149th in the NFL, which is absolutely poor. And the training camp, he's been woeful. It just hasn't been right for him. And there were Tyquan Ford has improved a bit. Kayshon Boutte looked really good in week 1 of preseason. So I think your time to cut him, and it's only 9.6 million in dead money, which isn't a lot to be fair. I thought it was something worse due to that ridiculous contract we signed him to.
Yeah, but, that was hilarious when he signed him to that contract, to be honest. But yeah,
mate, there are worse contracts, but that was that was a bad one. I will admit that.
I'll tell you what, that is absolutely true, though. I mean, what's 9.6 million? I wasted that this morning getting breakfast.
I mean, he's never been the same since he called the Browns the Browns. Ever since that moment, it's all been downhill for him. So, Corvette.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Straight out of Foxborough.
Interesting. Sorry, guys. I was having a little technical difficulties there, but I'm back now. in other news, I don't know if you guys saw that all the fights that the New York Giants and the Lions were having the other week before their game, the teams were both fined $200,000 for those fights. I like preseason fighting.
Pocket change, really.
Pocket change.
Yay.
Has anyone watched Hard Knocks yet? Am I the only one?
I have not.
I have not.
Wow.
But I've learned that you can watch it on the Game Pass, so I will be watching it pretty soon.
Oh, I didn't know that. To be fair,
You can watch it on the Game
it's on
Pass.
Game. Yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, they usually do put it up. Well, once everybody's watched it, we should discuss. You'll catch up. You'll have another episode, obviously, tonight. So that'll be fun. And finally, I think in news, we found out that Hassan Reddick, who hasn't played it down for the Jets traded for in March, right? And he wants to be traded again. And the Jets have put out a release saying basically that they're not going to be trading Hassan, and that they've been doing their due diligence and in good faith trying to negotiate with him. This is turning out to be a little bit of a mess here for them.
Yeah.
Not sure why you trade for a player and not have some sort of framework for an agreement in place. Granted, they gave up a 2027 pick, right, for him, so it wasn't like it was crazy. But Karl, I know you have some opinions.
What did I say a couple of weeks ago on my first return? I said it wouldn't surprise me at all if this goes south very, very quickly. The Jets are an organisation that don't handle their business that particularly well. And Hassan Reddick, he is probably one of the best pass rushers in the game, not just under that elite tier. And he's got the contract fine, but he is actually being paid lower than what he actually says he should be being paid. So you can't exactly say, well, he doesn't deserve it because his production levels have been through the roof. So he does deserve it. This is the Jets once again trying to lowball their players. And it doesn't surprise me that this is now happening again. If Riddick ends up getting traded out of New York, the Jets have, excuse my turn of phrase here, they would have butt fumbled once again. Because they continuously do this all the time. And, as much as they can turn around and say for the Jets, yes, we got a really good system, good setup here, we've got all these shiny new toys. You look under that floorboard, it is rotten to the core still. And it's the way how it goes with this Reddick situation. They better pay him. Otherwise, the AFC is tough when it comes to pass rushers.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love him on my team. Double.
Yeah, if not, someone else would pay him. So
yeah, double digit sacks 4 years in a row. So that's nice to have. So, well, we'll be monitoring that. We'll see what happens. Any takeaways from the weekend, guys? Anything that you got to see that you liked? Doesn't have to be your team. Anything interesting?
I think we should probably get the bust ready in Canton for Caleb already. Hall of Fame probably guaranteed pretty much. So no, I'm kidding. He obviously looked pretty good. Good to see. I mean, Jaden Daniels' first NFL throw was a 40-yard bomb. Just good to see some of these young guys and the young rookies, get their first kind of taste of NFL action.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Bears game, but I watched all of the plays with Caleb Williams in, and he looked really good. Made some really good, smart throws. Again, similar to he just seemed to know a good pocket presence and all that sort of stuff, and make some game situations. We'll see how they go when it's a bit more up tempo, but from what I saw, looked good. And dare I say, JJ McCarthy too looked fantastic this weekend.
Bar the hideous interception that he threw.
Yeah, but there was
Pre-season.
the
Sling it.
Was it? I can't remember how many yards, but he threw an absolute dime up the left-hand side on a rope. Absolutely, and he threw a few more as well. So
was that the one Was that the one that when they were they were talking to Justin Jefferson on the sideline when he threw that one?
I think so, yeah.
I clicked in right around that time, which was really funny. And Justin Jefferson was saying that he's going to be called Jets, which still drives me up a wall. But anyway, that's a whole other.
There was a receiver that caught my eye in the Rams Cowboys game. Whittington, I think his name is. Looked really, really good from what I saw. Got a really good touchdown on him. Broke a tackle. Ran straight for the ends on the right hand side. Good effort. The thing is with the Rams, they've got a good crop of decent receivers. So yeah, and if they add Whittington to that roster, that receiving depth could be a bit of an issue for some teams in the NFC West. But we're talking AFC, not NFC, so might be getting a bit sidetracked here. But no, Whittington I thought looked really, really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a good bit of Caleb Williams too, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I did like what I saw from JJ. Michael Penix looked decent too, 9 for 16. Had a couple good throws, overthrew a couple of balls, but they were like, it wasn't like horrible overthrows. But he looked, he looked like he showed some flashes. So I think everybody was pretty happy with what we saw. I didn't get to watch any of Bo Nix. Anybody get to watch any of Bo Nix or any of? You did?
Yeah, I watched it. I watched a bit of Bo Nix. All this talk, what we saw in the draft of, Bo Nix, he's the best of the worst top tier quarterbacks that got taken. He was the last one taken. This, that, and the other. Watched him play. He didn't look like someone who was under pressure at all. He made some very nice throws. He got through his time, went through his reads very, very well. When he had the chance to scramble, he did. I thought he did really well. I think it's a 15 of 21. I think he threw, which is pretty
175 yards.
Yeah,
touchdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah, I thought he looked good. But apparently Jared Stidham is their starting quarterback. That's all I gotta say.
Because the Broncos don't know what they're doing. But I obviously watched the Chiefs Jags.
This is from a Chiefs fan, by the way. Come on, what do you expect?
Yeah, well, I mean, come on, they've been trashed since 2015, so yeah, I don't want to hear any more about the Broncos. But in the Chiefs Jags game, it was a good game actually. To be fair, the Jags played quite well, but I was just from the Chiefs' perspective, fullback Carson Steele seemed to make some good plays, including one where he threw off two different defenders on like an 18-yard run, so I was quite happy to see that with some depth running. But yeah, and also Mac Jones looked quite good for the Jags. So those were two players that stuck out in that game for me.
I mean, just throwing it to the Lions for a second. I actually want to kind of make a statement that I want to wish Maurice Alexander the best of luck in his new job, whatever that may be, and I'll have a medium Big Mac meal with fries, please. So, from Maurice Alexander, because that was an awful showing at the start with those two kick returns. First, I don't know if you saw them. First one just went straight through both of his hands. And the second one, he forgot to call a fair catch, got pummeled as he caught the ball, and then it just went flying. It was hilarious. So yeah, I wish him the best of luck in his new job. Our rookies looked really good going in. Ennis Rakestraw really impressed me this week. I did mention a couple of weeks ago Sione Vaki, who was our fourth round pick, who was meant to be a bit of a couple of linebacker, running back, whatever. He looked quite good. And Jake Bates making a 54-yard field goal in the. I know that it was mentioned about him potentially, not having much luck outdoors in games, but it was slightly raining, 54-yard field goal. So great for him. Nate Sudfeld should never wear a jersey again in the NFL. And for that reason, the Lions are currently looking for a new quarterback as well as a backup.
Give it time, mate. We'll probably cut Bailey Zappi.
I'd rather jump in for the Lions if that's the case. I'll go in instead. It's fine. I'm a lot cheaper. I'll pay for a bus pass. It's fine.
You'll pay for a bus pass.
I'll play if they can cover my bus fare, and I'll stay in a motel around the corner from Allen Park. I'm a lot cheaper.
I'm more concerned if we won't be able to cover your insurance more than anything.
I'll be fine.
Well, that about covers our news for today. Ooh. And today's topic, we're going to be going through...
Sorry, Chapman, before we do, I do want to give a special shout out, and I think it's fair to do this week, to the Chiefs kick returner, wide receiver, running back, gunner, and kicker, Lewis Rees-Zammit, this week on his first appearance, because he played like 9 different positions. I think the only one they didn't let him play was quarterback. And Charlie Smith, the Irish kicker, made a 37-yard... Charlie Smythe, game-win, 37-yard game-winning field goal for the Saints to beat the Cardinals. And given that a year ago he had never kicked an American football, and he just did that, I think was phenomenal. So I just wanted to make sure I shout out our guys from across the pond as well while we're talking about preseason.
If he does,
shout out to the International Software Program.
Yeah, it's working. It's well and truly working.
That is exciting, and I think we promised we'd have a some sort of a segment every week if there's some good stuff to talk about. So Oli, I think you and Fletch need to get together and figure out what that's going to be called. So we can do like a little sound.
That's right. I know Fletch has been practicing his Welsh, so I'm sure we can come up with something.
I've been practicing Welsh for 6 years. I can actually get by slightly conversationally.
Are you listening? I literally said I know you've been practicing. Come on. I wasn't disrespecting you.
Anyway. So we're going to be doing the AFC today. We're going to go through each division. I'm going to get who everybody thinks is going to win that division. And we're going to have some chat about that. Then we're going to go through, and then maybe we'll talk about wild card teams at the end, records, whatnot. So luckily we have 3 of the 4 divisions represented here tonight. Fletch and I will try to be our AFC South people. But we're going to start, as you always do, with the AFC North, which Oli, your team runs from. Why don't we start with you? Talk about the AFC North. Who do you think's winning it? Really tough division. As you say, self-proclaimed best division in football. Let's go.
I think it's going to be a good division. I think probably we'll get, and I can see there being another 3 teams from the division making the playoffs. And I will go with my Browns to win the division, their first division in my lifetime, first division since the 80s. So, yeah, I'll go with the Browns to win the division. But again, as I said, I think it's going to be a very competitive division, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ravens, Bengals both make the playoffs as well. So yeah, Browns winning the division, close, but in a very close manner, and the other 2 teams being thereabouts in the playoffs. Steelers, I think, will be at the bottom of the division. I'm a Browns fan. I'll take every single chance I can. I don't just say that because I am a Browns fan and I don't like the Steelers. I do believe when you look at the rosters across the AFC North, I have the most question marks about their most important position. The most important positions that they have. So yeah, them to come last. That would be my thing. So Browns 1. I'll probably go Ravens 2. Bengals 3, and then Steelers 4.
Just out of curiosity, what do you think that Browns record's going to be?
Because, like I said, because it's such a tough division. I don't think it's going to be a 14-3 and storm every game. I think they'll probably win you can win the division with 12-5. So I'll probably say 12 wins, maybe 13 wins.
The over-under right now, just so you have it, is the win total for the Bengals is 10.5. The Browns is at 8.5. Ravens is 11.5, and Steelers are at 7.5. Yeah, it's weird. I think that the Vegas, I would definitely take the over on those Browns wins.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. Tom,
it's obviously that they care about the quarterback. That's why, don't they? So,
well, it is the biggest question for your team. Tom, who do you have in the AFC North? Who do you like?
So I'm actually going to go with the Ravens to win the division, just because I think they're only going to build off what they did last year anyway, to get into the AFC Championship game. I'm going to go with Browns closely second, then Bengals, then Steelers. I agree with Oli that the Steelers, just in terms of the
You
talent
made him
compared
quit.
to the rest of the divisions, are just
You made him quit.
are just not quite as good. So yeah, I'll go Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers.
Nice. For those who are listening, Ollie, we've lost Ollie on the pod. That's why Fletch is saying he's going to quit. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's kind of gone. All right. So you have Ravens repeating with the Browns coming in second place. Karl,
Yeah.
how you feeling about the AFC North this year?
I've said this for the last few years on many other podcasts, and the AFC North is by far the toughest division. When you talk about the Steelers and the Ravens, you don't look at football, you just look at a blood and guts match. It's always going to be 10-13, 17-14. It's never, it's never straightforward with this division. What I'm going to say is this, okay? When Joe Burrow is fit and healthy, the Bengals always make on average the AFC Championship. And I think that's what a lot of people are kind of getting misled over this one. I know they lost their OC, who is now the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. But I'm going to stick my neck on the line here, and as long as Burrow stays upright, I can see the Bengals going toe-to-toe with the Ravens, and I reckon they'll just pinch him. So I'm going with Cincinnati to win the division, just about. Ravens will finish second, and the reason why I've got the Ravens finishing second, they have lost 60% of their starting O-line from last season. That's a huge deficit to have. I know Lamar Jackson is a dual threat quarterback, but still, you still need an O-line to protect you, and that's a big loss to me. The Browns, I feel like they're always like one step behind. Defensively, they're fantastic. One of the most stout defenses I've seen in a long time. But the quarterback just worries the heck out of me. And if he does turn back into Houston Texans Deshaun Watson, then the Browns are in a different situation there. But I'm just worried about Watson. That's why I got them finishing third, and I had the Steelers finishing bottom because Russell Wilson with Justin Fields, it's about as inspiring as forgetting to take your phone to go for a shit, and so you have to read a bottle of so you have to read the back of a bottle of bleach. So yeah, I'll go with that. So yeah, Cincy first, Baltimore second, Cleveland third, Steelers at the bottom.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we have Karl on this podcast. We get to hear about poops and bleach, who knows what. Anyway, Fletch.
Why throw to me now? Why make you follow that? That's not fair.
That sure is not. Fletch.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see that so far, and it's quite telling when we talk about the toughest division or the best division in football, that so far 3 people have gone and 3 different division winners have been put forward. And I think as much as Ollie has turned around to both Tom and Karl and been like, well, why would you even do that? You can't truly make that. It's a completely understandable thing that all 3 of them have made that prediction. And I think... Wait, hang on. And I think within that, it's very easily able... That could still go any...
Well, we were just having a tough night tonight, technically, everyone.
Sorry, that was my
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Right in the middle of his preamble to what I'm sure was going to be a fascinating dissection of the AFC North. Well, just so I'll pop in here, here's my gut on this division. I think you could potentially have 3 10-game winners in this division, or at least close to it. Karl, you mentioned about the Ravens losing some O-line. They've also lost their defensive coordinator, who has been given a lot of credit for how well that defense played last year, obviously now the head coach in Seattle. And they've lost a lot of pieces on that defense as well.
They've also lost the queen, but they picked up the king.
Go on.
Derrick Henry, come on.
That's
man.
fair. That's fair. Sorry.
Oh, I have it.
I'm sorry. It's 9:30. I'm, that's very true. They did get Derek, and I think he'll have a great year. I'm excited about him for fantasy. I would say for me, I definitely think the defense is going to regress, and I think that's going to be the kicker for them in terms of the division. I'm going to agree with Ollie. I am going to take the Browns only because I just like that team so much, and even despite the up and down at quarterback, they were with the different quarterbacks last year, the injuries and everything. Man, they still managed to make the playoffs, and I think Stefanski is a really underrated coach. This could be if he does get Deshaun even back to 70% of what he was, they're going to be really dangerous. So I like them. I like the Ravens really close. Now, my favorite non-Falcon football player in the NFL is Joe Burrow. I love Joe Burrow. I've said this before. If I could allow myself to wear a jersey of another team, I would have that cool white Joe Burrow. But Karl, as you said, his health is always in question here. And I want to see him get through a season before another season healthy, and I do wish that for him. So I'm just staying back on the Bengals this year. I'm actually, like, in fantasy, that's actually my thing. I could totally burn me. They could have this huge season, but I'm not betting it. But I am going to have them coming in third, and then the Steelers, for all the reasons previously listed, I think will be coming in fourth. That's awesome, guys. Do we have anybody have any before we move on? Any other little notes?
So,
Ollie?
I do think it'll be a coin flip in the division, though. As I said, with the main reason I'm picking the Ravens was just because, and I didn't factor in so much that the defensive coordinator left and stuff, and they have lost pieces. But then adding Derrick Henry, I think will give them a different dynamic on the offense as well. Obviously, I know that Ollie's not quite so high on the Derrick Henry move, but I don't know. I just think anytime Lamar Jackson is healthy, then it's kind of scary, to be honest with you. But yeah, I do think the Browns will be very good, as you said, Chapman, as well. So yeah,
no, cool. We're gonna skip the South because we would normally go South now, but I'm gonna wait and see if Fletch pops back up so he could be part of that. So we're gonna go straight to one of the other exciting divisions. It's the AFC East. I'm gonna read out. So before we jump in and start with Karl, I'm gonna just read out the Vegas odds right now. So right now, Vegas has the Bills at 10.5 wins, the Dolphins at 9.5, the Jets at 9.5, and the Patriots at 4.5. I'm definitely taking the over on the Pats. All right, go ahead, Karl. Tell us about the AFC North. The AFC East.
AFC East, yeah. We got three teams that are trying to fight to win the division, and there's a team that has just basically hit the reset button and starting all over again. Let's just put the Patriots out of their misery, okay? Because we're rebuilding, we're a brand new team, and listen, I can say our floor is like 5 wins. I could see us getting 7 wins if everything goes to plan, but we're nowhere near in playoff contention. We're not going to do what Houston did last year because everything all the dice had to fall in their favor, and it did. But it won't happen for us. No, all I want to see out of that team is progress. Moving forward, it will be between the Dolphins and the Bills that win the division. I'm going to stick my neck on the line here, and I'm going to say the Dolphins are going to pinch it. Now, hear me out. I've got both the Dolphins and the Bills at 12-5, but I've got the Dolphins taking the division on the tiebreaker. That's what I got there. The Jets, I think I've got them something along the lines of about, I'm going to say 9-8, just to cover my backside here, because we'll see how good Rodgers is, because You can't get faster health in fitness-wise. You can't get faster with your health. But he still has got the mindset of a great quarterback. And as long as he has that, he'll be fine. That new offensive line, we'll see how well that stands. Because if he ends up on his backside one too many times in the AFC East, he ain't going to make it through the season. The last time Aaron Rodgers actually made it through a full entire season and not got injured was back in 2018. And Fletch should know that very well, because in the final game, Detroit beat them and sent the Packers and made the Packers miss the playoffs. So that's what I'm going for. So I'm going to say Dolphins finish first on 12-5. Bills finish second on 12-5. Jets on 9-8. And I'm going to say 7-10 New England.
It's preseason. We're all rosy right now. Tom, who are your picks for the AFC East? You're on mute, buddy.
So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Bills to win the division just because I think they have the best quarterback in the division in Josh Allen. And, you know, obviously I know they lost a lot on the defensive side of the ball, but Miami's pass rush doesn't really scare me too much. You know, obviously losing Christian Wilkins as well, a big part of their defense. I do think that their defense is going to suffer a bit. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills to win the division. Then I'm going to go for the Dolphins. Then the Jets are close third, and then the Pats fourth. As Karl said, you know, it's a rebuilding year. It's building towards the future. So, yeah, but I still think, I know there's a lot of people counting out the Bills, but still think if you got Josh Allen at quarterback, then you're going to have a great chance to win the division. So that's why I'm going to pick the Bills.
Nice. Fletch, AFC East.
Yeah, Bills. I'm riding with Tommy. I'm going with the Bills. I think it's... Yeah, they've lost a couple of pieces on defense. Yes, they've lost Stephon Diggs. And again, I completely agree with the whole, as long as they've got Josh Allen, they're never surely out of any conversation. But I also think they've just been, some of the talk of what they've lost and how much they've lost and how much they've regressed this offseason has been a lot of hyperbole. Just a bit of thing blown out of proportion, and I think people have just ran with a little bit of a story. I think they'll be absolutely fine, and it's their division to lose again. I think absolutely again. To be fair, riding with you there, Tom, with Dolphins in right behind them. I think, but I also think with Karl, it's going to be extremely close. They could potentially both have the same record, but one just has a slightly better in-division record than the other. It will probably come down to the last game of the season, and if I can just double check here, because I had the tab open. I had the schedule tab open. Who was it they had on the last game of the season? The Dolphins. Is it the... No, is it the Patriots they've got at the last game of the season?
We've got to play the Bills twice in 3 games at the back end of the season.
Right. Who's it they got that last game of the season? Sorry, I did have it a minute ago, but I've lost the tab. Week 18, week 18 they got the Jets.
Season, I think it's the
week
Jets.
18 they got the Jets. Yeah, so I think that could end up going on to be a very... How I didn't figure that out after he just said... Karl just said they were playing the Bills. Anyway, I think that could be a couple of very interesting games towards the end of the season, where if the Jets... because I don't think they'll be in the conversation for any division title, but I think they'll be in the conversation for potentially a wild card spot. So if they're in that conversation and the Bills are fighting it out for the top spot in the AFC East, then, you know, that Dolphins-Jets game at the end of the season could be some fireworks. And, yeah, Patriots, I'll go one below Karl and I'll say a 6-11 season.
Fine.
Nice. Thank you, Fletch. Oli, AFC East, who you got?
I'll probably agree with Carl and go Dolphins to win the division. I just think with the pieces that the Bills have lost, and obviously this is all health dependent, with Tua and that, but I think you get a full healthy season out of Tua, then I've got the Dolphins winning that division. I think the Bills second. I think they'll be kind of fighting for that kind of back end of the wild card spot. As I mentioned, I do think they will slightly regress this year, but again, they've got Josh Allen, so they're always going to be there or thereabouts and in the mix. Third, obviously, I will go Jets. I just kind of similar to, I think, as Karl said, and most of us have said, we want to see it with Aaron Rodgers. He's not been healthy. He wasn't healthy last season. He's coming off an Achilles injury. So until I see him, back to being Aaron Rodgers, then it's hard for me to put the Jets any higher than that. And then, bottom will be the Patriots, unfortunately, Karl. But Patriots to finish last in the division. But who knows? Maybe, as he said, if they get a good year and positive stuff out of Drake May, then that will change the year later. But Dolphins to win the division, Bills to come second, Jets to come third, and Patriots to come fourth.
Nice. I'm still a big believer in Josh Allen as well, and I think the Bills will still win this division. I think it's theirs. I'm interested to see Miami this year, because this is like, they know where their holes are. They know their speed team. They can't play really in cold weather yet. And is Tua going to take another step? I'm interested to see that. So, but I got them coming in second. I know the Jets have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I just want to, I think throwing Rodgers in there a la Tom Brady or a la Matt Stafford is not the same. And I don't know. I, again, want to see it before I believe it. I still think they're a third place team. And then you have we know the Patriots are rebuilding right now. So I'm going to say you're going to win 5 games this year, Karl, because it's a 4.5, and I like the over on that one. So
5 is floor. 5 is the floor for us. So here's the thing. If you don't have it, you can't be disappointed if you don't have expectations. And we don't have any expectations this year. I want to see how this team is progress.
I know all about that.
We will never, ever in our franchise go 0-6. We'll be 0-17 now. We will never do that.
Well, you've had your 20 years.
One last thing, Chapman. Fletch didn't make his prediction for the AFC North. Fletch, what was your prediction for the AFC North?
Yeah, sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out and then it reconnected me, but not properly. It was weird. I was just saying, I think it's a testament to the division how all 3 out of 4 teams can be selected and no one can really turn around and say what an egregious claim it is to claim that one of any 3 teams could win the division. I am going to go with the Browns this year as well. I think partly because I think I see the Ravens regressing a little bit this year. And again, for me, the Bengals would depend a lot on Joe Burrow and how healthy he can stay. And I just don't want to commit to a fully healthy Joe Burrow. And I think if you've got a slightly regressed Ravens team and slightly not quite at it Bengals, the Browns could really, I guess, run with that. And so there's that for me. I think I'd like to see the Bengals come in second. I would love to see the Ravens come in third. But I think no matter what, as long as you've got Lamar, again, it's similar to what you would say with Josh Allen. It doesn't matter what goes on. As long as you've got Lamar, you're there or thereabouts. But also on that note, it's not just because I think it's mostly based on the talent that the Browns have and how that division I think really could go. But also because, Ollie, I want you to have this year what I had over the last few months. I want you to have that feeling. I want you to kind of break all of that. I want that for you. I
appreciate you.
And I'm riding the whole of the Lions fan base are riding with our Lake.
You want to lose in the AFC Championship game? Is that what you want to do?
We have I will proudly say that we've never lost an AFC Championship game and never will. I'll go out on record and say that one, so I'm fine.
We were having an emotional
but you
moment
did lose
there.
the NFC Championship
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're saying
yeah.
the Browns are going to go to
No, but
how
yeah,
the
yeah.
Lions did last year,
But
then
we were talking about the AFC Championship game. We have never lost and never will lose an AFC Championship game, and I'll put money on that. So don't change the conversation.
I'll make a bet right here, right now. If the Browns make the Super Bowl, I will dye my hair blonde. I will go full Slim Shady. If
Ew.
the Browns make the Super Bowl,
Right, dog pound.
Let's make sure we record that.
Oh,
That down,
that's
guys.
going in. That's going in.
Are you going to shave it as well, or just dye it?
oh no, oh Jesus Christ, yes, I will shave. But mate, have you seen my hairline? There's nothing left of it. So yes.
Well, now we're all Browns fans. I mean, at least at least for that reason. Thanks so much, Fletch. Glad you've gotten your Wi-Fi all back. Now we'll see if we can at least try to keep everybody on for the rest of the pod. We'll see. All right, guys, we're gonna go on to Tom's division, the AFC West.
The AFC, well,
We know who top dog is. I don't think that's changing. But Tom, tell us about the AFC West and what you're seeing in this season.
So I think that the Chargers are going to have a bit of a bounce back season. I think that they could potentially, I think they might even get a wild card potentially, if with competent coaching as well. The last two coaches they had have been, well, I mean, Brandon Staley and Anthony Lynn. So I mean, not the best, not the highest quality. So I think Jim Harbaugh is gonna really propel that team. Obviously, I know they're going to be probably a run heavy team as well. But I do think the Chargers will probably be second in division. Obviously, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win. I don't think it's going to be as ugly as it was last year, where it was, I think we were 11-6. Whereas I think this year, well, I don't know. I think in either 12-5 or 13-4. I think and then I think that the Chargers will be either 11-5 or 10 or no, wait, yeah, 11-6 or 10-7. And then I think bottom, I think the Broncos are going to be the fourth best team in the AFC West, especially in a rebuilding year and with a rookie quarterback. So, whether he starts or whether Jared Stidham starts, either way, I'm still picking them to be bottom, and then I'm going to pick the Raiders just because on offense, they've still got some really good offensive pieces, and whenever you've got Max Crosby on defense, to pair with Christian Wilkins as well, I do think that the Raiders are going to be better than people think as well. So, so Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Do you think the Chargers will win more than 9 games this year? And I forgot to go through the division, which I'll do right now for us all. So before you answer that, Tom, sorry. Well, go ahead and answer it because my thing is loading, of course.
Yeah, I do think that they'll win more than 9 games.
Okay.
I think
I was right on
games,
the. So. I must have been osmosis because I was right on the money with the over/under for them. So it's Broncos at 5.5. Chargers are at 8.5, so it's right at that 9. Chiefs 11.5. Raiders 6.5. Not a very competitive division, but obviously the Super Bowl winner are there. But so you do see Harbaugh and Herbert leading that team to at least 9 wins this year?
Yeah, I do.
That's interesting.
I do.
Oli, AFC West. Who do you like?
Yeah, so pretty obvious this one. Raiders to win the division. No. Chiefs to win a division for the 20 millionth consecutive year now. I think that's pretty.
That'd be 9 times in a row.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the most given out of all the divisions. The Chiefs winning their division is the one you can nail in the most. And if you're going to bet on anyone to win their division, you'd bet on them. So obviously Chiefs first. Yes, I do think the Chargers will bounce back. I don't think I'm quite as high on them as Tom, but I do think they will. They will be obviously better than last year. Ended up with the 4th pick or whatever it was in the draft. So
Oh, he's gone again.
Am I still here?
All right, we've lost Oli. Karl, step up to the plate, my friend. AFC West. Outside of the Chiefs, do you like anybody?
It's a farmers division, let's put it that way. Because it is just the Chiefs and everybody else. Although it might sound very disrespectful to the Chargers, I believe they are the ones that are going to be very closest to try and challenge the Chiefs for the division. Jim Harbaugh's record in the NFL is actually very, very good. Is very good, so he knows how to coach. He knows how to coach a good team. Coming back off an NCAA championship with the Michigan Wolverines. Now he wants to implement that into a franchise that has seen nothing but pain and misery everywhere they've gone. Even in their new stadium, in the stadium that they rent, they still are outnumbered by the away fans, which is just still embarrassing. But anyway, they will run the ball a lot more. Defensively, they were ranked dead last in the NFL last year on defense. So they had to improve that, otherwise they're going nowhere near the division. The Raiders, I agree with Tom. I think offensively, they've still got some weapons. Keeping in mind as well, they've now got a brand new tight end in the name of Brock Bowers. Trying to be their version of Travis Kelce, but there's only going to be one Travis Kelce, and that's who the Chiefs got. So I still think the Raiders, they'll put up a good fight. I think they'll probably get 8 or 9 wins. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward, you think? Denver, even with Russell Wilson gone, the ride never ends. And that's going to be the same situation. Again, doesn't matter if you've got Stiddy or you've got Bo Nix at quarterback. The one thing I will say they're good at, their defense is still pretty damn good. I still like their secondary. I still like their best corner, and Patrick Surtain. But they're going to be so much heavily relied on the running game. They're going to be relying on Javonte Williams. They're going to rely on a couple of other guys as well. Sergey Pirine as well, they're going to rely on. So there's going to be, Sean Payton, he's going to want to hope that just bringing in Russell Wilson was nothing more than a fluke and a mistake, and he can actually get back to it. We don't know. But I think the Chiefs, I've got about 13-4. I've got the Chargers going at 11-6. And I think they can get 11 wins out of that. Raiders, I've got them going 8-9. Good enough, just not good enough to make the playoffs. And Denver, let's go 6-11 for Denver.
Nice. All right, Karl. Very fun. You're a big believer in the Chargers. 11 wins. And just to be fair, as somebody who lived in Los Angeles for over 12 years of my life, nobody in LA is actually from LA, and all the Chargers fans are still down in San Diego. And they're not coming up for those games. So, anyway. Fletch. AFC West. Who do you like?
I mean, 9 times in a row is what it's going to probably end up being. At the end of the day, we can only, how can you argue with that at this moment in time? The only way I think we would have a real shot at saying it doesn't belong to the Chiefs is if Andy Reid turned around tomorrow and just went, do you know what? We're going to sit Patrick Mahomes for a year. We're going to sit Travis Kelce for a year, and we'll sit the rest of them as well. We'll play third stringers all year. That's the only way I think anyone would realistically turn around and say, okay, probably not going to the Chiefs.
Chris Lewicon, let's ride.
I am going to be quite high on the Chargers as well this year. I think I, much like Karl, have a bit more vested interest in the head coach over there. After the last few years, so yeah, Jim Harbaugh, again, as Karl's mentioned, he knows how to win in the NFL. He knows how to put winning teams together. He knows how to coach winning teams. End of story. He will bring a winning team to the Chargers, and he will, I believe, get the very best out of Justin Herbert again. So, for me, it's the Chargers who will be in second. I think the one thing that the Chiefs do, I think, better than anybody else is spend the first half of the season. They're happy to throw a couple of games because they know that the time to really get going is the second half of the season, because you want to hit the postseason with your momentum. You don't want to hit the middle of the season. So the only way I think anyone's challenging them is if maybe the Chargers hit the ground running a little better than anyone thinks, and the Chiefs, they can then just kind of really drive the Chiefs towards the end of the season, but that's about it. And Raiders, I actually think, and this will be my hot take for the year, I think the Broncos, something will just click for them this year. Something, whether it's Bo Nix will come in and something will just happen. It's going to be one of those kind of seasons that nobody sees coming and something just clicks. Not talking playoffs or anything like that, but you're talking a better season than they probably should have. And Antonio Pierce, I think for all the hype that he's got going into it, couple things he might not be able to get going. So my hot take for the year is that the Broncos don't finish bottom of the division and the Raiders do. Feels weird to have a hot take that's just simply someone isn't going to be bottom of the division, but that's what I want to go with anyway.
Well, we love hot takes, so yeah, really, we all agree. It's Chiefs and then everyone else. It is going to be interesting to see if what Harbaugh can do with this team. Obviously, Herbert has been touted as a top 10 quarterback since being drafted, and Staley obviously underperformed there, and we'll see. I'm personally think the Chargers are a year away from what they really could be, and I'm not as bullish on them. But I also think the division outside of the Chiefs is quite easy because I don't really believe much in the Raiders or the Broncos. So there has been some talk, though, in some of the pods I listened to, that Sean Payton is kind of pressured this year to actually win some. But I'm not really sure how they're going to do that with that team. But anyway, it'll be interesting. I'll be honest with you, just because of the time change, I feel like I watched the least amount of the West games now, just because I don't. I do watch the 9:00 games here, obviously, but I feel like it's the division I somehow miss the most, the AFC West. So I don't know. Maybe I need to tune back in this year.
Let's face it, for the last couple of years, 3/4 of that division is meaningless to watch.
Yeah, I'm interested in, and honestly, I really wanted Atlanta to hire Harbaugh. He was my number one coming out of this, just because I do respect him and I do remember what he did in San Francisco. But we'll see. We'll see how he'll build that program. I just think, just from a talent standpoint, they had to get rid of a lot of old dudes this year, and they might be, again, not rebuilding, but just kind of reshuffling during this season. But Harbaugh will still make them competitive. Lastly, I just would say with the Chiefs, Tom, I'm really interested to see what this offense looks like and if they can get off to a stronger start. Even Patrick Mahomes, even he was saying how just they as you said, Fletch, they save themselves for the playoffs. That's what they're there. They're in for the tournament, and I think they are obviously chasing history this year. We're trying to be the first team to win 3 in a row, and it could be Kelsey's last year too. So it's a lot of interesting things going there. But I want to see how that offense plays this year, because I think obviously defense is
much worse than they did last year. So
yeah. Oli, sorry.
A comment I heard not long ago, and I actually this resonated with me quite well, is the best coaches, September is your preseason. That's where you get the most out. That's what your real preseason is. It's towards the end of getting towards the end of September is when your preseason really ends as a head coach. And it was actually when talking about Bill Belichick and how Bill Belichick kind of pioneered and how he was beginning to change the way coaches were looking at things. And it was Bill Belichick always saw September as his preseason. And I think that's a perfect example, like you say there, of the Chiefs. It's September is preseason still, to a certain extent. Just when you do win those preseason games, they matter.
I think Andy Reid's like 20-2 in the September. Him and Mahomes got a crazy September record. So like you said, they basically treated it like preseason anyway.
Fletch, I mean, sorry, Fletch. Ollie, I think we missed you on the turnaround, so we didn't get to you on AFC West. Who do you like besides the Chiefs?
Chargers second. I'm similar with you, Chapman. I'm not as high on them as the other guys. I think they're still a year away. I've got them around 8 or 9 wins. And then I'll probably go Broncos third and Raiders fourth. I just don't really trust Antonio Pierce. As much as I like the guy, and I hope he does do well. The old saying of never hire the interim head coach. I think it always seems to work out for the bad. So I just see them not doing so well this year. So yeah, Chiefs first, Chargers second, Broncos third, and Raiders fourth.
None of us are buying in the Raiders. Awesome. And moving right along to our final division, which we skipped over earlier, the AFC South. We have no one representing them here, but we're all going to take a swing at it. I think this is a really interesting. I'm going to set this up. I think this is a really interesting division only because of the quarterbacks at play. Obviously, CJ Stroud was a phenom last year, leading them to the playoffs. We saw some flashes of Anthony Richardson, which was really exciting before he got hurt. You obviously have Will Levis, who's looked decent in camp and preseason. We know he's got a cannon, but can he put it all together for the Titans? And what was I going to say? Oh, and obviously, I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove. He's been, he was the first overall pick. He got his big deal, and he's been pretty up and down. And now he doesn't have a coach to blame, because Doug Peterson's been there for a bit. So it's a really interesting division. I'm going to throw to Karl first, but I'm going to walk us through the AFC South. The Colts are 8.5. The Jags are 8.5. Texans is 9.5, and the Titans at 6.5. Karl, who do you like in the AFC South?
Let's be honest, Houston last season, they absolutely surprised the heck out of us. No one expected them to win the division, let alone win a playoff game. No one expected that to happen. So, Houston, they've added some new pieces as well. They got Stephon Diggs from Buffalo, Joe Mixon from Cincinnati, and they also signed Danielle Hunter as well. Big piece on the defensive line that they need. I'm going to probably say the Texans retain the division. The only team, I'm not going to say the Jags are going to be the ones that are going to be nipping at their heels. I think it's going to be Indianapolis. I want to see a full season of what Anthony Richardson can do. If Richardson shows the little snippet that we saw of him, he is a quarterback to really be on your toes for and keep an eye out for. So I'll probably go with the fact that I've got Texas in the division. I'm probably going to say it's going to be 11-6. I don't think it's going to be convincing, but I'm going to say 11-6. I'm going to say the Colts, they finish on... I'd say the Colts finish on 10-7. I've got the Jags. Trevor Lawrence, how many more bites of the cherry is this guy going to get? Because he is a good quarterback on his day, but he also can be a liability at the same time. So I'm going to have the Jags in third at 8-9. Tennessee, new head coach, new ideas. Is Will Levis the guy who's going to take them forward? I don't know. I'm going to say they're going to finish 7-10. Tennessee, my personal opinion. So yeah, I've got Houston to retain the division.
I'm just going to go ahead and assume bites of the cherry is an English thing that I don't know about.
It is British slang. Yeah.
Okay. 10 years in this country, I'm still learning. Tom, AFC South. Who do you like? Who do you not like? What are you thinking?
So I'm going to go for a different one. I'm actually going to go for the Colts to win the division. I just think that, obviously I know that Anthony Richardson last year, he struggled with, staying healthy, but I do think that he stays healthy this year. I do think that Jonathan Taylor's back to his best. Who has I think on the defensive line as well, the rookie, can't remember his first name, but Latu. Ollie, what's his first name?
Latu, I think.
Liatu. Yeah,
Latu,
Latu. Yeah,
I think his first name.
I think that I think he's going to do well as well. So I'm actually going to pick them to win the division, but I think it's going to be a close second for the Texans. I do think that obviously CJ Stroud was incredible last year. I do think he's going to play well this year, but I do think he is going to have maybe a slight bit of a reality check in some of those games. So because I think that these teams are going to be better. So I think that the Jags are probably going to be, as Karl said, I think he said 8 or 9. And then I also think that the Titans, that people are sleeping on them. And what was their prediction again? Chapman, was it 6.5?
No.
I think they're definitely going to get more than 6 wins. So I think I might go for them to go 8 and 9. To be fair, as well, just because I think defensively they've got some great pieces still, and I think they're kind of being slept on a bit. So, but yeah, that's probably how the division's going to shake out for me.
Just to write on top of that, Tom, the one complaint I will have with the Tennessee Titans, their average age at their wide receiver position is 30. That's alarming. That's the oldest receiving core in the NFL.
Wow. And Hopkins is already hurt too, I believe, right?
Oh, was he already hurt?
Yeah. Ollie, AFC South. Who do you like? Who do you not like?
Agree with Karl on the Texans. Oh, it's not on mute. I'm not on mute. It's not on mute. Oh, for fuck's sake.
There he is. You there? I'm going to move us along. Fletch, step in for Ollie while he's fixing his thing. Who do you like in the AFC South?
I actually really like the Jags. I think this is going to be the year where they, I think, put those final couple of pieces together and finally get it over the line. They've paid some of the talent. I think this is the year that they finally put it together. You'd like to say that the Texans continue on the run that they have done. You'd like to say, but we have seen before. Okay, maybe not from rookies a season like that, but sometimes you have a season like that, and things just don't quite work out the next year. The Texans have tried to do everything that is right by CJ Stroud, but at the end of the day, we've seen this before where it just hasn't quite worked. Again, I want to see high-quality football from all 32 teams. I want it to work for them. I want it to be a good division. But I'm going to side with the Jaguars and just say I think they get it over the line and finally get those last couple of bits together. Don't say the Texans necessarily have a regress or regress this year, but maybe don't quite hit the heights that are expected of them. And it will be, again, similar to a couple of other things we spoke about. It'll be like a 12-6, 11-5 type thing that goes on the season. The Titans, I know me and you, Chapman, spoke about this at the weekend on a slightly different thing. Like what the Titans are doing. I think the Titans can be sneaky good and are on the way up at the moment. But I think, unfortunately for them, the Colts have the opportunity to be very, very good as well. And I think it's not the best division in football, but you are sadly you are on the up in a division that could have 3 very good teams, and that's just an unfortunate position to be in. So I do think the Jags take it. I think the Texans come in second, and I think the Colts come in a relatively close third. But I just want to see a full healthy season out of AR, and then just take it from there. The Titans have a major improvement on last season. I think Will Levis is going to look very, very good, and I want to see again I want to see just significant improvements from Will Levis. Not because I think he needs them, but it's what you want to see in football. But unfortunately, they'll come in fourth in the division.
Thanks, Fletch. Yeah, I mean, this is exciting because I figured that I was hoping everybody would pick somebody different. And I mean, this is such a competitive division, and a lot of unknowns as well in terms of, what will Anthony Richardson be on coming back? Can CJ, again, maybe not repeat last year, but just grow, sophomore slumps, or they happen in the NFL. And it'll be interesting. I think for me, I'm with Karl on this. I really like the Colts. I think we've forgotten that the Colts were actually a really good team for a long time, and they just had issues at quarterback. And if they can keep Anthony Richardson upright, I think they're a really stout team. Now, I only like them slightly above Texans because I agree, Fletch, like, a lot went right for the Texans, but they weren't like world beaters either. They just got the quarterback right. Great for them, and they continued to build around them, which is good. I'll be really interested to see. I think it'll be a close division with them, and I do agree with you with the Jags. Like I don't think I think they get a lot of crap, but you really got to have a great season out of Trevor Lawrence. He's being paid like a top tier quarterback, and he needs to play like he did when he was winning championships at Clemson. You need to see, because there's no more excuses. The guy's been in the league for 5 years now. So, and then with the Titans, like, I don't know. This is a personal thing for me. The Tennessee Titans are like the least sexiest team. Maybe it's because they're from Nashville and, it's right up the street from Atlanta. And I do have some biases against different cities, but Nashville's a great place, by the way. It's a lot of fun. If you ever get to go, you should go. You have a great time. Yeah, I had such respect for Vrabel and him losing the power struggle there, but they hired a great coach too, Callahan. So it'll be interesting to see who comes from a long line of comes from his dad is obviously a very famous coach as well. So yeah, we'll see. But I think that's the order for me. It's Colts, Texans, Jags.
So you agree with me then, Chapman?
I thought that was Karl. I think Karl picked the Colts.
No, I picked Texans, so you agree with Tom.
All right, sorry about that. Tom, yes, me and you finally agree on one thing. That is crazy. We should mark this down. It's finally happened once.
Okay.
We have lost Oli, and I don't think he's coming back. So,
we all know Oli would have said the Colts.
He would have definitely.
And he would have said it about 15 times.
He loves the Colts. He loves the Colts.
Not surprising. So maybe we'll get his reaction that coming up. That's the AFC. Now, guys, we've picked our division winners. Do you guys have any I know we have 4 wildcard teams, but give me 2 wildcard teams you're excited about out of this division each.
Out of the AFC South.
Or you can give me out of the whole sorry, not the division, the whole conference, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I think whoever, at least one of those wildcard teams will come from the AFC North, and they will always be exciting to watch. There's going to be no question about that one. And whoever I think comes out of as the wild card out of the AFC East, out of the Dolphins or Bills, will also be exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Until they run into the Chiefs and they get bludgeoned, but yeah, no.
I would love to see the Texans as a wild card team. I think that would be fascinating to watch especially if they matched up against the Chiefs. That would be a crazy matchup.
I wouldn't rule out the Colts. I wouldn't rule out the Colts as a wild card team. I think they could really spring a surprise. Come playoff time, I don't know what happens in Indianapolis, but that city goes up another level when it comes playoff time, especially at Lucas Oil Stadium.
I think we'll have. I definitely think there'll be a wild card from the South and a wild card from the North. I think that's. I would agree with that. I don't.
Would you also agree, because there'd be 3 wild cards? Would you say that the other wild card would come from the East, or do you reckon the North will have a couple, the South might have a couple, the West might have a shot at one?
I personally think it maybe would get three from this is three from the South only because I think the North could beat each other out of things that could happen at some point. But
Yeah,
you never
true.
know. You never know. I mean, just again, it's all like if Burrow, if Burrow and Watson and who am I missing, and then in Lamar, I'll have great years. I mean that it could it's just all going to be a quarterback play on both sides. So
If I was to make the wildcard prediction on what I've picked already, so for the East, I'll probably say the Bills will probably. I've already said the Bills will finish the same score, the same wins and loss tally as the Dolphins, but the Dolphins win the tiebreaker, so the Bills will be in there 100% regardless. There will be a team coming out of the AFC North, but it'll only be one team, and I think whoever gets that wild card will probably end up winning the tiebreaker over the other team in the AFC North. Are the Chargers going to be good enough to? Are the Chargers going to be good enough to make a wild card push in Jim Harbaugh's first season?
I think you have to win 10 games.
Well, considering the last time that he was came to the NFL, he changed the Niners from I think they might have been a 4-win team or something to
they were pants. They were eternally bad.
Yeah, they were eternally bad, and then he won. He +7 them in terms of wins. So if he can even replicate part of that with the Chargers, then they're going to have a chance at the wild card.
As much as I do believe in Harbaugh, there is another thing to add there that what was 10 years ago. This is a different league now compared to 10 years ago in many respects. But one thing I will say is he comes from the Big Ten. Big Ten he's used to big defenses. He's used to very defensive football as it is in the Big Ten in college. And one of the biggest things I'd say about you've got in your division a very rough team to go up against in the Raiders, who I think would be one of they'll want to punch him in the mouth, won't they, throughout both those games. And I think he will be a bit more used to having games like that. If he was a brand new head coach, I would say I think the Raiders might scare him, just because I know Antonio Pierce is going to have everybody up and ready to beat people up. But it's going to be a weird one. I think how far he can actually take them this year.
The worrying thing for me for the Chargers is their running backs. They got J.K. Dobbins and they got Gus Edwards. Both cannot stay healthy if their life's dependent on it. And Jim Harbaugh wants to play this hard-nosed, bruised type of running game. Good. I wouldn't draft these two in fantasy if I were you, because I'll probably get done with it week 3 or week 4 by the time it's over and done with.
Well, you might draft Gus Edwards just for the goal line touchdowns.
Draft the bus, yes.
It'll be your Jamal Williams this year.
Jamal Williams.
He gets 7 yards, but all of them are touchdowns from the half-yard line.
Well, just a reminder, last year we did have 2 wildcard teams from the AFC North. I'm going to say it's going to come from the AFC South this year. I'm excited. We're young quarterbacks. Let's go. Anything else on the AFC, guys? It's still the Chiefs to lose. That's it.
It's still the Chiefs to lose. The Bills have got to some... I'm worried for the Bills, okay? I still think they're going to have a very good regular season. But how much of a mental blockage is Josh Allen and the Bills actually going to have when it reaches playoff time? How many times are they going to run into Kansas City and miss the boat? And I've noticed a pattern as well. And it's the same sort of pattern was when the Pittsburgh Steelers played the New England Patriots in the playoffs. They can't beat them. The Bills cannot beat Kansas City. And I just got no. Even when it's in their favour, even when they went home field, they still could have. They reenacted the wide right kick from the 1990 something. I can't remember what year that was.
In It's a mentality thing, though, Carl.
It
That's
is.
what it is.
It is a mentality.
They cannot. It doesn't matter if they win in the regular season or whatever. When it comes to the playoffs, they just don't have that killer edge to take out the Chiefs.
This is why the only team, and I know Baltimore have tried to do against Kansas City, but their record against them is absolutely woeful. I think they've beaten them 1 in 4, 1 in 5 attempts, I believe. I think the record is. The only quarterback I see actually going 2 Arrowhead and beating Mahomes is Joe Burrow. He's the only quarterback I can see because he's the only one that's done it. He knows he can go there. He knows he can do it again.
That's a bit easy then.
It's fact.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I mean, I've been watching this sport long enough to know, like, I mean, obviously there's something special with Mahomes and what he's done in such a short time in his career, but the NFL, which I will remind everyone, means not for long. And I'm sure Mahomes is going to continue to be great, but it, you know, as they've shown, I think they're they can be beat, and you can beat them. Because it's any given Sunday, and I think that's what I love about football.
Yeah.
I think again we had this conversation earlier, Carl. I think a couple weeks ago, and it's like, there are quarterbacks. I think there's a few quarterbacks in the AFC that can challenge the Chiefs, and it's like you either have one of those or you don't. Otherwise, you're just playing to make the playoffs and feel good about yourself. You know what I mean? So
it's not so much about challenging the Chiefs. Challenging the Chiefs is one thing. It's actually finishing the job. The clutch moment that you need to finish them off with. And unfortunately, the only one that's come close to that is Joe Burrow. Or has done that, rather.
Yeah.
I know Josh Allen has beaten Mahomes in the regular season, and I know Lamar Jackson has beaten Mahomes in the regular season. But the playoffs are a completely different kettle of fish. And
so is Jared Goff.
Yes, so is Jared Goff.
I'm sorry, Tom. I had to
in one of the best games I've ever seen, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's probably
Oh, I was talking about last year.
Oh,
the 21-20. It's a great game, though. To be fair, Karl.
That game where I was messaging you about Jamaica Gibbs at like 4 in the morning.
Oh, I was on about
the great kickoff game.
I was on about when Goff was at the Rams.
Yeah,
when they played the Chiefs back in, was it 21 now? 21? Yeah, 21.
Yeah. But I'd also like to say, though, that, again, I'm not doing it just because Ollie's in the room. I truly do think, again, the Browns do have, in my opinion, what I want to be the best chance of winning that the AFC North. But I think, should they do that playoff football in Cleveland, will be just as electric as it was in Detroit this year. It's going to be great. It's going to be great to see. And
well, I mean, I'm scared of the. To be fair, the Browns secondary is like not something to be taken lightly. You know, even with the Chiefs, like their corners are long, they're big, they're physical. Like they can stop you in so many different ways. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, if they do get to that stage, what that kind of matchup would be. But yeah, I still think that the AFC still firmly runs through Arrowhead. So,
Fletch, I believe you have a GTP for us before we get out of here.
We should do a guess the player this week again. I have hopefully a nice easy one for you all. So this week's guess the player via their career path. They were a Wolverine, a Brown, a Giant, then a Patriot. I was kind of hoping Sean and Ollie would be on right now. This one.
Oh, weapon now.
Wait, can you say it again, Fletch?
A Wolverine, a Brown, a Giant, and a Patriot.
This is a defensive player.
It is.
Oh.
Come on, Karl.
I'm thinking.
Is it a corner?
Yes. No, sorry. No.
No, it's not.
I reckon Ollie would have. Yes. I reckon Ollie would have got this pretty much straight away.
Yeah.
A Brown drafted, taken from the Wolverines, they all remember them ones. They don't like them.
It's a safety. It's not like I really can't think of
They're active.
someone.
It's an active player. This isn't a retired player. This is an active player.
An active player.
And he plays for the Patriots.
On the Patriots
now.
roster.
I have no
Come
idea.
on, Karl. Karl, you got to know it. How many
Tell us,
Patriots
Fletch.
safeties?
Giants.
Come on, I want to see it. Go on, I'm going to Karl. I'll give you 20 more seconds. If you cannot think of any Wolverines that are on the Patriots right now. Dun, dun,
Give
dun,
him 5
dun,
more seconds. Nobody wants to listen to Dead Air.
dun, 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 dun,
Not like
dun,
Jalen
dun.
Mills, is it?
Nope.
No, he was an Eagle.
It
Yeah,
is.
There's a
so-
guy-
Did you give up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jabril Peppers.
Oh.
Son of a bitch. I knew.
I knew he played for the Wolverines, but yeah, that name never would have come to mind for me. Even me, who's the king of the guess the player, but yeah.
I reckon Ollie would have got it because, again, anyone who's a fan of an Ohio team does not forget drafting a Wolverine.
Yeah, true.
They don't like it. So there we go. Hopefully, by the time this is out, if you got it and you listened to it on social media over the last couple of days, well done. Better than these guys today.
Yeah, we needed Ollie for that one.
He stumped us. Well done, Fletch.
Yeah. Good job, everybody. Next week we'll be doing the NFC, and hopefully we'll have some other guests joining us to represent all the divisions, or at least three of four if we can. And then we'll be getting ready for our last pod before the regular season starts.
Ooh.
And next time we talk, I will be in America.
Look it. Going to watch the best team
Very
in
nice.
Georgia. All 3 of them. Georgia, Atlanta, and obviously Kennesaw State.
How do you know about Kennesaw State?
Well, because they are my Conference USA team, as I am, Conference USA is my kind of sister conference, I guess, for the college football podcast. And so I've been following them quite a bit this year. And I chose Kennesaw State as the team that I'm going to follow because I like the underdog. I like the new boy. It was either that or I don't know if any of you guys saw the Florida International news this week.
Yes. Oh, we forgot about that. That should have been in our news.
That's I know it's college related, but did either of you two, Karl or Tom, see what Florida International did last week? They renamed the stadium to the Pitbull Stadium after coming to a agreement with Pitbull himself, the Grammy Award winning with Pitbull.
Yeah. Mr. Worldwide.
The best
Jesus
part-
Christ almighty.
Is the stadium made of timber though, Fletch?
That's a great question.
Well played, Tom.
And as part of that agreement, I don't know if you saw any of the actual agreement when it was shared on social media, Chapman, but he is now known as the official entrepreneur of FIU Athletics.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and it had something to do with a gambling deal too, if I'm not mistaken. There's like some other little bits, maybe not gambling. I can't remember what the other thing was, but it's his
Vodka.
I don't know.
Is it
yeah,
vodka?
vodka. Yeah. He's
Movie
got
set.
some other business, but yeah. But anyway, good on Pitbull, man. Has anybody done more with less in their lives? And just a little bit of talent and a dream, man. That guy.
Right. There was a game I used to play. Can you count to 4 in Spanish?
No, dos, tres, cuatro.
Can you name 3 cities anywhere in the world?
Yes.
Berlin, Moscow.
Rome.
Oh, I just fell for it, didn't I? Damn.
Right, now can you say Dale?
Oh, I know what you're doing here. Dale.
Should I say it again?
Alright, well done. We've just collaboratively made a Pitbull song. Well done, guys.
Oh, boy.
That used to be
Comedy.
If you can count to 4 in Spanish, name 3 cities across the world and say Dale, you've made a Pitbull song.
I love how serious you are about this. On that, guys, thank you so much for listening. It's always wonderful. Please come back. Please rate, subscribe, give us 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast. That helps us out. We're trying to grow this. We're trying to grow this thing together. Also, keep listening to the AAW Network, College Pod. You got anything coming up you want to plug, Fletch?
Yes, the actual Asleep at Work podcast is coming back as well in September.
Nice.
Through the year. And as a shout out to that, on this episode right now is the first ever guest we ever had on the Asleep at Work podcast, the inaugural man who helped me basically launch this whole thing himself, in Tom. So,
hey,
there you
thank
go.
you, Fletch.
And I think if you follow Tom and Karl, I think, if you're a Patriots fan, Chiefs fan, I think they've got bits and pieces going on. And then at least they have found a way to vent their fandom in a way that I haven't yet. So anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys. We'll see you next week. We'll be doing the NFC all divisions and going through it. I had to think about it for a second. It's been a long Monday, everyone. All right. Hurdle that week, everybody. See ya.